guys, Planet Everything here, and today we are going to be discussing a couple of cameras that shoot 4K and are probably the best of their type. So all of the cameras that I talk about will be in the link description down below. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do it this time. I always forget. So if it's not there, I'm really sorry. Canon is the thing that I'm filming on now. This is Canon ADD. This is not shooting this is not shooting 4K. Not even close. It's not that high quality of a camera, but it is a very high quality camera for the price that it is, and it's like $1,200. And I probably could do a better job using it because I don't exactly have the best lens setup, which I'm going to be fixing quite soon. Now, macro lenses are great and all, but they pick up a lot of noise. All lenses that are the silver striped lens don't get the best amount of footage, or like best video. It's a lot of impurities in the glass, and putting a good piece of glass in between you and the sensor is really going to help you a lot in the quality that you take your videos of. So even though a camera may not be 4K, that does not necessarily mean that it's a bad camera at all. And also, I haven't put any Sony cameras in here because generally I don't have a very good like knowledge of Sony cameras, so I'm sorry if you're like a Sony head. I just don't know very much of them. I know most of the other brands though. So the first thing we're going to talk about is two Canon cameras: the Canon EOS X, Canon EOS 1DX Mark II. This thing is a beast. It comes in at about $6,000. It's a crazy expensive camera that will require quite a lot of accessories, and $6,000 is pretty much just for the camera body alone, making it a huge investment of money. So if you're about to buy one of those cameras, make sure that you're going to be getting that money back in the long run, because that is a huge investment, but it's a great camera. It shoots 4K 60, which is, I'm pretty sure, one of the only cameras on this list that can do that. Well, that's a crazy good camera. It is a full frame camera, which is awesome. There's only two of those on this list, which if you're wondering what that means, is like it's got a great large sensor. This camera has a micro four thirds, along with the Panasonic, along with a couple other cameras that I'm going to be saying, but you got to stick around to hear those. So the next camera up is a Canon EOS 5D Mark IV. 5D Mark IV? Pretty sure. Canon 5D Mark IV. 5D Mark IVs are great cameras because they shoot 4K 30 down to like 4K. I don't know what they go down to, but they're great cameras. They also have it also has a full frame sensor, which is nice. It can let in a lot of light with a full frame sensor, which is very good if you're shooting low ISOs, low light conditions. It'll give you a little less noise in the background. You can probably even see a good amount of noise in the background here because this lens doesn't exactly let in the most amount of light. So that's a great camera. It shoots 4K 30, and it's about half the price of your Canon EOS 1DX Mark II, which is a big deal because it doesn't really take as big of an approach to the picture side of a camera, although it has great pictures, great photo kind of thing. It does not have as good picture quality as the Canon EOS 1DX Mark II, and it also does not have 4K 60, and it doesn't have the low light capabilities that the 1DX Mark II does. So both of these cameras would need either an external like a digital monitor for you to like see yourself, or maybe see from a different like angle, because for this camera it has a little screen that pops out. Actually, I'm pretty sure all of these cameras that I'm gonna be talking about need one of those extra screens, which go for like $500 sometimes, but you can get them as low down to like 70 or something. But that's a great camera. All these cameras are great that I'm gonna be talking about. I very much like this camera because it's a cool, awesome, nice camera, and that is the D850. This is a Nikon camera, and it's really nice. It's full frame sensor, 4K 30, but I think it's less than the 5D Mark IV. But it is the closest rival to the 5D Mark IV. It's just a little bit better, in my opinion. It also has a full frame sensor, which is also really good because of low light. And but the thing is, if you're a Canon person like me who has all these Canon lenses, which I have like 5, you would need either an EF mount or you would have to get all new lenses, which is kind of a down point, because even if you have a real nice EF mount, you're not going to be having your lenses perform as well as a Nikon lens would be doing on a Nikon camera. Like a Canon lens is not going to perform as well as on a Nikon camera, pretty much no matter what, just because Canon lenses are designed for Canon cameras, and that's just kind of how it works. But don't get me wrong, Nikon cameras are awesome, and if you're already part of the Nikon kind of squad, then you might want to look into that camera if you're looking for 4K capability. So that is a great camera that I would definitely get if I was a Nikon person, but I made the decision to go with Canon, and so far that's probably fine with me. A couple of cameras. These next ones are. This is the Panasonic GH5 and GH6. GH6 has not come out yet, I guess you could say, but it is like a concept, and people have been like making rumors about it, so I'm gonna bring it up later, just right after I talk about the GH5. The GH5 is probably the first like way ahead of its time camera. It has so many nice parts to it. It is such a cool camera. I was very close to buying it a while ago. It does not have a full frame sensor, meaning it doesn't have the best low light, but it doesn't have the best autofocus, as you probably have heard if you listen to that kind of stuff. But it has 4K 60, which is the same as the EOS 1DX Mark II, but the 4K 60 is not filmed with a full frame sensor, which is a bummer. Oh yeah, did I mention with the 1DX Mark II you would need a CFast card because it takes like really huge pictures, and also you would need it for that camera, so just saying. With the Panasonic GH5, it has come in with some of the most ahead of its time kind of stuff than pretty much anything else. It came in about a year, maybe a little longer ago, and it was really revolutionary until people started realizing how the autofocus kind of wasn't the best thing ever, and they started returning them actually. And I personally, if I had gotten one of those cameras, I would be jumping for joy, because I would rather do manual focus than discard all of the other things that come with that camera, because it is jam-packed with other things you can do. So it has time-lapse photography, but you know that already. So does the Canon ADD. But it has external power source. Like, you can get a cable that plugs in your camera and it will infinitely power it as long as the power is still on. Along with dual SD card slots, which is really cool, because that means technically you can keep on recording for as long as you have storage. So you could have like 3 SD cards, say, and have 256 gigabytes on each of those SD cards. Have 2 in the camera at a time, and the little red dot is blinking on top of the one that is being used. Once that red dot goes to the next one, then you take that card out, you plug it in your computer, export all that stuff. While that is exporting, you put the other one in your camera, and then take the other one out that was in there, because you have 3. And you can pretty much do it for however long you have like disk space on your computer or external hard drive or whatever you have, which is really cool. And it used to mean a lot more to me. That's a good upside to that camera. And another thing is, like, you can program like focus methods to it. So saying, like, I actually got this from someone else's video, but like say there's like an Iron Man figure. This is like your hand. It's focusing on the hand, and then it like you can tell it to focus here instead of my hand, like without actually touching the camera. You can do that before and tell it to do that at a certain point and kind of like gradient into it. Not sure if that makes any sense, but if it does, it's kind of cool. Then there's of course the Panasonic GH6, which is a really cool concept, but if it ever happened, it would be really expensive. Like seriously over the top. Probably something you're not gonna want to buy because of the price, but it would have some seriously cool features like fixed autofocus, probably a full frame sensor, a possible, this is like a conspiracy theory almost, possible 8K, almost certain 6K footage. 6K and like at the maximum they said there's a possibility you could have 6K 60, 8K 30, which is crazy, and you would have to definitely have a CFast card going on that thing. It would be a crazy camera, and judging by Panasonic, it probably wouldn't be that expensive, but we don't know that because they don't have a full frame video camera really like that's any good. Next up is a personal favorite and something that I might actually end up getting soon, which is it's a Blackmagic Cinema camera. And the price of this camera kind of varies a little bit. It's about $2,000, but Blackmagic Cinema cameras are amazing. They shoot 4K 30, but that's not really the point. They shoot 4K 30 RAW. That is such a big deal. So 4K 30 RAW, and what I would get is the 4K 30 RAW with the EF mount. So that means that I can actually attach any of my Canon lenses onto this camera, and they would work just as well because Blackmagic and Canon did, I don't know, somehow like B&H is offering this, and it's like built into the camera somehow. I'm not sure if it would fit on my Ronin or not, but I've seen them in real life, and I feel like it's gonna be close. Like really close. But if I eventually get one of these cameras, it would really be awesome because I could expand the like horizons of what I could do a lot, because the low light on that camera is insane. It's a different standard. It's not really a full frame. It's like different. It's not like judged in the full frame sense. The specific one I want is in, it will be in the description, but that it is a very cool camera, but it would also need an external digital kind of, what do you call it, monitor, because you don't have that flip out screen that you normally do, but you do have like an OLED kind of display on the back of it. I don't know if it's OLED, but sometimes they're they're not very visible in the sun, so a lot of them come with the little shades on the top of them, which is nice because it's kind of necessary. So that's actually pretty much it for this video. I know it's a lot of stuff. Thank you so much if you're actually still here. But there are a lot of cameras that are great. I definitely missed a couple of them at least. But if I didn't mention your specific camera, I'm sorry. These are just like the new upcoming ones, except for the GH5 that's been out for a while. But all of these cameras are really above and beyond cameras that have really stood out in the kind of community of cameras, and they mean a lot as far as it goes with like the progress of like cameras for people like me who just want to make videos for fun and I can probably afford one of those with the money that I make from my videos, which would be really awesome. So yeah guys, that's pretty much for this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and also please share with your friends, because you know, sharing is caring.